What if I told you the person sabotaging your success is the one staring back at you in the mirror? You see, it's not them. It's not your boss. It's not your partner. It's not society. It's not your circumstances. It's you. Against you, and the hardest fight you will ever face in your life isn't against the people who criticize you, doubt you, or try to pull you down. It's the battle against your own excuses, your own limitations, your own comfort zone. That inner voice that whispers, "You're not ready." Or worse, "What if you fail?" Every morning when you wake up, you're stepping into a ring. And it doesn't matter how loud you cheer yourself on if you keep surrendering to fear the second life punches you in the face. Because life will punch, it'll test you. Not once, not twice, but every time you try to rise. There's a version of you that wants more. She's focused, he's disciplined, she's tired of playing small, he's done asking for permission. That version of you exists, but you keep burying it beneath self-doubt and distractions and the need to be liked. You're fighting yourself by scrolling through the highlight reels of others instead of building your own story. You're losing the fight when you choose temporary comfort over permanent growth. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually made yourself uncomfortable on purpose? Not because you had to, because you chose to. That's where growth lies, on the edge of discomfort, not in routines, not in easy wins, but in the places where you want to quit, and don't. What most people don't realize is that the loudest enemy you'll ever face isn't out there. It's right here, inside your head. It's not the critics who try to tear you down. It's not the ones who doubt your abilities or the ones who walked away when you needed them most. No, it's you. It's that version of you that tells you to play it safe. That whispers, "Don't try too hard. Don't take that risk. Don't speak too loud. Don't stand too tall." That voice, that inner voice, it doesn't shout, it manipulates. It convinces you to shrink just enough to be unnoticed, just enough to stay comfortable. And then it applauds you for being rational while your dreams quietly suffocate. You think your biggest opponent is out there in the world, but the truth is, no one can hurt your chances like you can. You sabotage your own growth every time you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "This is just how I've always been." That's not honesty. That's fear dressed up as logic. And the problem is, you trust that voice more than you trust your potential. You treat it like it's truth. But it's not. It's just your fear trying to keep you small. You want to win in life. Then understand this. Your competition is not other people. It's not the coworker who got the promotion. It's not the friend who started the business before you did. It's not the influencer who looks like they have it all together. The only person who can take away what's meant for you is you. And if you don't confront that version of yourself, the one who delays, avoids, complains, blames, then you're already losing, not to the world, to yourself. So ask yourself, are you holding yourself back because you're scared? Or because you've just accepted that this is as far as you'll go? Because the truth is, the world will only meet you at the level you've met yourself. And if that level is filled with hesitation, fear, and self-sabotage, then that's all you'll ever get in return. Every single morning when you wake up, there's a decision already waiting for you. Are you going to give in to your excuses, or are you going to rise with discipline? That choice is staring you down before your feet even hit the floor. And most people don't realize it, but that's the moment the fight begins. Not when you walk into work, not when someone challenges you, not when life throws you a curveball. No, the battle starts the second your alarm goes off and your brain says, "Just 5 more minutes." That's not rest. That's resistance. That's you giving yourself permission to stay average. Excuses sound soft. They sound reasonable. They even feel good. "I'm tired. I've had a long week. I deserve a break." But every time you choose them over action, over movement, over showing up, you're training yourself to lose. You're handing your power over to the weaker version of you. And the problem is, the more you do that, the more that weaker version starts to lead. You build discipline the same way you build muscle. By showing up, by lifting when it's heavy, by doing it when it's hard, when no one is watching, and when you least feel like it. You think champions are built on motivation. No, motivation fades. It lies. It comes and goes like the wind. But discipline Discipline shows up even when everything in you says not to. It doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't need a perfect mood or the right playlist. Discipline just shows up. And that's why it wins. And you win with it. You've got two choices every day: give in to the voice that wants to keep you safe, or rise with the one that wants to make you stronger. And here's the truth. One of those voices is building your future, the other is bearing it. You decide which one gets to lead. The most dangerous voice in your life isn't the one criticizing you from the outside. It's the one inside your own head that you've been listening to for years without question. That voice that tells you, you're not ready, you're not smart enough. Who do you think you are to go after that? That voice doesn't yell. It creeps in like a whisper and disguises itself as caution, as logic, as humility. But it's not any of those things. It's self-doubt. And self-doubt is a liar. You don't lose when others question you. You lose when you start questioning yourself. When you let those quiet thoughts paralyze your momentum. When you play small because some part of you still believes you're not worthy of being seen big. And it doesn't matter how talented you are, how smart you are, how much potential you carry. If you let that inner voice dominate, you will sabotage everything before you even begin. People think fear is what stops them. It's not. Fear is normal. It's human. What really stops you is the story you attach to it. You feel fear, and your mind writes the narrative. This must mean I'm not good enough. I'll fail. They'll laugh. That story is what breaks you, not the fear itself. And until you take control of that story, until you call it out for what it is, a lie, you'll keep losing the fight before it even starts. You can't outrun that voice. You have to confront it. Every single time it shows up, you shut it down with action. You silence it by doing the thing it tells you can't do. You fight it with facts, by reminding yourself of every challenge you've already overcome, every time you've proven it wrong. Because confidence isn't something you're born with, it's built. And it's built every time you override doubt and choose courage instead. Comfort is the silent killer. It doesn't come at you with fire and noise. It lulls you to sleep. It rewards you with ease. It tells you, you're fine right here. And that's the trap. That's how it works. It convinces you that staying the same is safer than stepping into something unknown. But the truth is, if you want to grow, if you want to change, if you want to build something worth living for, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. Deeply, consistently, and willingly. You can't evolve inside your comfort zone. That zone is built from your routines, your habits, your fears, your limitations. You already know everything that exists inside it. There's nothing new there. Nothing challenging. Nothing that forces you to level up. And yet so many people stay locked inside because it's familiar. They'd rather live predictable lives than risk uncertainty. But you don't grow by repeating. You grow by reaching, by stretching, by pushing past what feels easy and safe. Growth hurts. It's uncomfortable. It demands more from you than you're used to giving. And that's exactly why it works. True strength, the person you want to become, doesn't live in the version of you who stays quiet when it's time to speak up. She doesn't live in the one who skips the hard conversations or avoids failure just to protect an image. That future version of you is born when you choose to lean into the discomfort, when you stop running from pressure and start using it to forge something stronger. You think pressure means stop. No, pressure means breakthrough. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the proof you're in the right place. If it's stretching you, it's shaping you. If it's painful, it's powerful. You just have to stop looking for the exit every time it gets uncomfortable and start asking, what am I building right now? Because every rep of discomfort is building resilience. Every moment of pain is building power. And every step outside your comfort zone is one step closer to the life you keep saying you want. Discipline is not loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't wait for applause. It doesn't care if anyone's watching. Discipline shows up when motivation leaves the room. It's the quiet force that doesn't flinch, doesn't negotiate, and doesn't care about how you feel in the moment. And the truth is, most people fail not because they don't have potential, but because they don't have the discipline to follow through. They're waiting for motivation to strike like lightning, but motivation is fleeting. Discipline is what stays, and that's what builds champions. Anyone can start something. Anyone can get excited on day one. That's easy. The energy's high, the vision is clear, and everything feels possible. But success isn't about how well you start. It's about how relentlessly you keep showing up when the excitement is gone. It's about what you do on day 20, day 50, day 300, when no one's checking in and no one's cheering you on. Most people want the result, but they're not willing to endure the repetition. And if you're not willing to get bored doing the work, then you don't really want the outcome. You just like the idea of it. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It demands that you lead yourself through the storm. You think discipline is hard. You know what's harder? Regret. Waking up 10 years from now realizing you betrayed yourself, not because someone stopped you, but because you did. Because you gave in to short-term pleasure over long-term greatness. Because you wanted the comfort more than the change. Because you made excuses instead of progress. That's the weight most people carry. Not failure. Incomplete potential, and that pain never goes away. People look at success and they see talent, they see luck, they see opportunities. What they don't see are the mornings when that person didn't want to get out of bed and still did. The nights when they wanted to quit and kept going. The hours of training, writing, learning, building, while no one was watching, while no one cared, while the world kept moving without them. Discipline is built in those invisible hours. The moments no one applauds, the sacrifices no one sees. That's where excellence is made. Not in the spotlight, in the shadows. And you have to ask yourself, who are you when no one's watching? Because that's where the truth lies. Anyone can post success. Anyone can fake progress online. But your life will expose your discipline. Your results will reveal your habits. You want to change your life. Start changing your patterns. You don't need a miracle. You need to stop breaking the promises you make to yourself. That's where discipline starts. Not with a plan, not with a deadline, with your word. You tell yourself, I'm going to wake up early, and then you hit snooze. You say, I'll eat clean, and then reach for junk the moment stress shows up. You say, I'll stop tolerating toxic people, but you answer the call anyway. And every time you break your own word, you teach yourself that your commitments don't matter, that you're negotiable, that your standards can bend. And when your mind learns that your word means nothing, discipline dies. The most powerful thing you can do is become non-negotiable with your standards. That doesn't mean you never fall. That doesn't mean you never feel tired or frustrated or discouraged. It means that no matter how you feel, you honor your word. You lead with integrity, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one else is doing it. Because that's what separates the strong from the fragile. Fragility gives in to the mood. Strength honors the mission. Discipline is about doing what's required, not what's convenient. It's doing the workout when your body is sore. Making the call when you'd rather stay silent. Saying no when temptation shows up dressed as opportunity. It's the backbone of every strong life. And if you don't have it, you'll crumble every time pressure rises. Because life will test you. It will delay you. It will try to distract and detour you. Discipline is what keeps you locked into your vision when everything around you is pulling you away from it. And you need to understand, no one is coming to save you from the hard days. No one is going to wake you up early, make you eat clean, push you to keep going, or build your dream for you. That's your job, and if you won't own that responsibility, someone else will control your life for you. Your future is not created through occasional effort. It's created through daily discipline. And discipline doesn't get easier. You get stronger. Every time you choose discipline, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're shaping your identity. You're programming your mind to follow through. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Not because it's easy, but because you've trained your mind to obey your vision instead of your emotions. The greatest enemy of discipline is emotion. Emotion says, I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Emotion says, I'm stressed, I need a break. Emotion says, this isn't working fast enough, let's quit. And that's exactly why so many people stay stuck. They live reactive lives, chasing highs, running from discomfort, and wondering why nothing changes. But when you live with discipline, you flip the switch. You don't respond to life emotionally, you respond strategically. You stay in the game. You stay focused. You keep pushing, because you're not here to just exist. You're here to grow. You're here to build. You're here to become something stronger than what the world expects of you. And that's not going to happen by doing what's easy. It's going to happen by doing what's necessary, over and over and over again, until what used to break you becomes part of your rhythm, until what used to scare you becomes part of your strength. You don't become unshakable by accident. You become unshakable through relentless repetition, through refusing to skip steps, through refusing to cut corners, through keeping your head down and doing the work, every day, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one cares, because you care, because your vision matters, because you've decided that your life will be led by principle, not pressure. And that's the standard. Discipline isn't something you do, it's something you are. It's embedded in how you speak, how you show up, how you move through the world. You want to be unstoppable. Make discipline your identity. Make it your foundation, because motivation might get you to the door, but only discipline will walk you through it. And on the other side of that door is everything you say you want. Clarity, freedom, strength, respect, confidence. But you don't earn those things by wishing for them. You earn them by working for them. So the next time you think about quitting, ask yourself, am I being led by my feelings or by my future? Because the world isn't going to hand you what you want. It's going to test how badly you want it. And the only answer that will ever matter is what you do when it gets hard, when it's inconvenient, when you're exhausted. That's when it counts. That's when discipline takes the lead. And that's when you start becoming someone unstoppable, someone unbreakable, someone who doesn't need motivation, because discipline already made the decision. There comes a moment where you have to make a decision. Do you want to keep protecting the version of yourself that survived? Or do you want to become the version that thrives? Because you cannot do both. You can't evolve and still hold on to who you used to be. You can't chase growth while clinging to patterns, habits, relationships, and identities that are rooted in fear, trauma, and comfort. That version of you, the one who kept peace to avoid conflict, who stayed quiet to not be judged, who played small to be accepted, that version got you here. But that version can't take you there. And the reason so many people stay stuck is because they've wrapped their identity around their limitations. They say things like, "That's just who I am. I've always been like this. I'm not that kind of person." As if growth is a betrayal of their past. It's not. It's an evolution. But evolution requires loss. You've got to be willing to lose your old self in order to make room for the new one. And that's not easy. It's not pretty. Because the old you isn't just going to step aside quietly. It's going to fight. It's going to remind you of your failures. It's going to whisper that you're not ready. It's going to tell you that change is risky. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing it. That voice in your head wants to keep you comfortable. It wants to keep you in environments you've outgrown, in friendships that drain you, in habits that numb you. But you're not here to repeat survival. You're here to rewrite your standard. You're here to become someone that your old self wouldn't even recognize. And that's a good thing. That means you're growing. That means you're evolving. That means you're letting go of what no longer fits. You have to stop defending your old story. Stop explaining your pain. Stop rehearsing your limitations. Because the more you speak from that place, the more you reinforce it. And your mind, it's listening. Every excuse you make, every limitation you accept, every boundary you refuse to set, that's information your brain uses to shape your identity. And identity drives behavior. So if you keep telling yourself you're someone who can't, someone doesn't, someone who's too late, don't be surprised when you keep living that same reality over and over again. You want different, then become different. Stop revisiting old wounds like they hold the key to your strength. They don't. Your strength is in your choice. The choice to stop waiting for permission, for validation, for timing. The choice to say, that version of me was necessary for survival, but I don't live there anymore. Growth means becoming a stranger to your past. It means doing the uncomfortable thing, again and again, until the new you becomes second nature. And don't expect everyone to understand that version. Some people liked you better when you were predictable, when you didn't challenge their comfort, when you tolerated what you've now outgrown. That's fine. Let them go. Because your loyalty to your evolution must be stronger than your attachment to familiarity. You're not betraying your past when you outgrow it. You're honoring your future. And the person you're becoming deserves a full commitment, not part-time effort. So if you're serious about evolving, if you truly want that next level, don't just talk about it, act like it, move like it, speak like it. Start showing up as that version today, not next month, not next year, because transformation doesn't happen later. It happens the moment you decide the old you is no longer in charge. Nobody's coming to hold you accountable the way you need to be held. Nobody's going to sit you down every night and ask, "Did you do what you said you'd do?" That's your job. And if you're waiting for someone to come into your life and make you disciplined, make you consistent, make you focused, you're going to be waiting forever. You are accountable to you. And until you grasp that fully, until you accept that you are responsible for every standard you set, every boundary you honor, and every promise you keep, you will stay stuck in a cycle of almost. People love to keep promises to other people. They'll show up for a meeting. They'll follow through for a friend. They'll bend over backwards to not let someone else down. But when it comes to themselves, they break their word without hesitation. And what they don't realize is that every time they do that, every time they say they'll do something and don't, they're chipping away at their own self-respect. You want to know why your confidence is low. It's not because of what others think of you. It's because of what you think of you. You keep abandoning yourself and then wonder why you don't trust your own decisions. You can't build a strong life on broken promises, not even if those promises are only made in silence, in your own head, where no one else can hear them. You hear them. And when you don't follow through, your mind starts learning that your word means nothing, that your goals are negotiable, that your standards can be bent when it gets uncomfortable. And that's when you lose yourself, not to others, but to your own inconsistency. Being accountable to yourself means doing the work even when no one checks in. It means following through even when no one's clapping. It means showing up for the promise you made at midnight when you were tired of your own excuses. The promise that you'd start again, that you'd show up differently, that you'd stop letting fear run the show. Accountability isn't just about tasks. It's about integrity. It's about becoming the kind of person who can rely on themselves no matter what. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. You need to start honoring your own word like it's law. Because the world will take you at the value you place on yourself. And if you keep treating your commitments like suggestions, don't be surprised when others do the same. Hold yourself to a higher standard, especially when no one's watching. That's how real power is built. In the quiet, in the unseen, in the discipline of keeping your own promises even when no one would have known you skipped them. That's where self-respect is born. That's where trust is earned. That's how you become unstoppable. Not because someone else pushed you, but because you chose to show up when it would have been easier not to. So many people waste years of their lives chasing approval, from peers, from partners, from strangers on the internet. They shape their actions, their choices, even their personality around being liked, being accepted, being validated. And in that process, they lose themselves. Because when you spend your life trying to be what other people want, you forget who you really are. And the truth is, you'll never feel fulfilled chasing someone else's version of you. Approval is addictive. The praise feels good. The likes, the attention, the compliments, they all give you a hit of validation that tricks your brain into thinking you're doing something meaningful. But what happens when the likes stop? What happens when people disapprove, when they criticize, when they question your path? If your identity is built on approval, then every piece of criticism will break you, because you've trained your worth to depend on other people's opinions, and that's a losing game. Because opinions change, people shift, crowds are fickle. And if you need their permission to feel confident, you'll never be free. You have to get clear on this. Do you want to be liked, or do you want to be respected? Because they're not always the same thing. Doing what's right for you won't always make you popular. choosing truth over politeness, growth over comfort, boundaries over people-pleasing. That won't make everyone happy, but it will make you powerful. Because when your confidence is rooted in your own values, not their opinions, you become unshakable. You weren't put here to be a mirror of other people's expectations. You weren't born to shrink, to mold, to twist yourself into something more acceptable. You were built to lead yourself. And that starts with purpose, not popularity. Ask yourself, am I proud of who I'm becoming? Do my choices reflect who I want to be? Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many people approve of you. It's about how deeply you can approve of yourself. You'll find real power when you stop chasing validation and start chasing alignment. When you stop performing and start living. When you stop asking, will they like this? And start asking, does this feel right for me? The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones with the most applause. They're the ones who can stand in silence and still feel whole. You want freedom. Detach from needing approval. You want confidence. Make decisions that align with your truth, not their comfort. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone your smallness. And you certainly don't owe anyone the version of yourself that plays safe just to be liked. The only approval that truly matters is your own. Because when you respect yourself, when you live in integrity with your values, when you lead with conviction instead of fear, you don't have to beg for confidence. You become it. Mediocrity doesn't always look like failure. In fact, most of the time, it looks like success on the surface. Comfort, stability, things looking good enough. It's deceptive because it doesn't feel like you're losing. But deep down, you know you're not winning either. You're just existing, just coasting, doing what's expected, hitting goals that don't stretch you, living days that all blur together. Mediocrity isn't some dramatic collapse. It's quiet surrender. It's choosing ease over excellence. It's letting your potential collect dust while you convince yourself you're doing fine. And what makes mediocrity so dangerous is that it comes wrapped in the disguise of convenience. It tells you, you don't need to push today. You've already done enough. It whispers, why make things harder? You're already ahead of most people. It rewards you for being slightly above average. And if you're not careful, you'll trade your greatness for that tiny hit of comfort. That's how it traps you. Not by breaking you down, but by convincing you that you don't need to rise any higher. The truth is, most people aren't failing because they tried and lost. They're failing because they never truly tried. They stayed just busy enough, just productive enough, just comfortable enough to not feel the urgency. But if you feel that quiet voice inside, the one that says, there's more in me than I'm showing, listen to it, because that's the truth trying to wake you up, and you can't ignore it forever. Sooner or later, the pain of staying small will outweigh the pleasure of staying safe. You weren't built to settle. You weren't designed to repeat the same cycle on autopilot year after year and call that a life. You were made for more. More impact, more strength, more courage, more depth. But you don't get that by staying in the shallow end. You get that by making the hard decisions, by choosing growth over ease, by walking away from things that feel good but keep you average, by demanding more from yourself, not because you're not enough, but because you know you've got more in you. And yes, the path to greatness is harder, it's lonelier, it requires sacrifice, but it gives you something mediocrity never will: pride, self-respect. That deep, unshakable pride that only comes from knowing you didn't settle. That you pushed, that you overcame, that you chose discomfort on purpose because you refused to play small. So ask yourself honestly, are you actually growing or just staying busy? Are you choosing challenges that stretch you or repeating the ones you've already mastered? Because if your days feel predictable, if your energy is flat, if your goals feel like checkboxes instead of missions, it's not because you're lazy, it's because mediocrity has you on autopilot, and the only way out is to wake up and disrupt the routine, take the risk, raise the bar, and stop being impressed with how well you've managed to stay the same. Every day you face the mirror, but most people never really look. They glance, they pass by, they adjust their hair, fix their shirt, maybe critique the surface, but they don't see the person staring back at them. That reflection is not just about how you appear, it's your accountability. your truth, your opponent, your ally. That mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't care about your excuses. It will always reflect exactly what you bring into it. And for most people, that's where the real war begins. Not with the world, not with a boss, not with a rival, but with themselves. Because that version of you, the one in the mirror, is the only one standing between where you are and where you want to be. It's not the economy. It's not your past. It's not the people who hurt you. It's the behaviors you refuse to change. It's the habits you defend. It's the stories you keep telling yourself. And the second you stop blaming external forces, the moment you stop pointing fingers, you give yourself power. Because now you can do something, you can move, you can shift, you can take control. But as long as you keep acting like the reflection isn't your responsibility, you will always be stuck. Some days, that reflection shows you strength. And some days, it exposes your weakness. But both are necessary. You can't build a powerful life avoiding the truth about who you are and how you show up. You have to face it. Own it. Work through it. The mirror is your measuring stick. Not to compare yourself to others, but to confront whether you're evolving or not. Whether you're becoming better or just maintaining the image of progress. There's a version of you in that mirror that wants to rise. She's hungry. He's focused. That version has clarity, discipline, purpose. But you only meet them if you're willing to outgrow the version that keeps looking away. The one who avoids responsibility. The one who lies to themselves and calls it grace. The one who repeats destructive habits and calls it survival. You can't live two lives. Either you lean into your potential, or you continue protecting your patterns. One gets stronger, the other dies. But you choose who walks forward. Every excuse you make, the mirror hears it. Every time you break your own word, it reflects that, and eventually you start to see it too. The guilt, the shame, the subtle erosion of self-trust. That's how people become stuck. Not because they failed, but because they gave up on themselves and couldn't look in the mirror anymore. They buried their ambition under comfort, their power under fear, and their potential under other people's expectations. But it's not too late. The mirror doesn't hold grudges, it just reflects. And that means at any moment, you can shift. You can decide that today is the day you stop running. That from this moment forward, you face yourself with honesty, with discipline, with fire, because the real version of you, the one who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't fold, is already there, waiting, watching, asking you, are you ready to stop being the reason you haven't leveled up yet? Because at the end of the day, it's not them. It's not circumstances. It's you, and if you can win that fight, even once, you change your whole life, not because someone gave you permission, but because you finally gave it to yourself. You have to understand, this was never about the world standing in your way. It was never about who doubted you, who left you, what you didn't have, or what cards you were dealt. This was always about YouVsYou. The war between the version of you that wants to rise and the one that wants to stay safe. The one that dares to dream and the one that clings to fear. And the outcome of that war, it's not decided by fate. It's decided by your choices. Every single day, you either step forward into discipline, growth, accountability, and purpose it, or you stay behind in excuses, mediocrity, comfort, and delay. You either face the mirror with honesty or avoid it and let your potential go to waste. The life you want, the strength you seek, the confidence you crave, it's already inside you, but you won't unlock it by negotiating with weakness. You unlock it by outworking, outlasting, and outgrowing the version of yourself that keeps holding you back. So ask yourself, what are you really fighting for? Because if you're not fighting for your own evolution, then what are you doing? This isn't just a speech. This is a decision. Make it count. Because the strongest, boldest, most powerful version of you is waiting, and the only thing standing in the way is you.